Okay. So this is just going to be a quick live. Um, I was feeling better yesterday. Today I'm not. I'm okay, but I'm weak. We'll say that. I'm not been able to eat a lot, and I'm weak. So I wanted to do a quick live, and I wanted to show you something that I'm making for myself, and then I wanted to answer any questions y'all may have very quickly, and then I'm going to finish cleaning my house and rest. Because that is the mood that I am in. So what I actually thought I would do today is just do, hi Denise, what I actually thought I'd do really quick is just hop on and say howdy, let y'all know I'm alive, answer any questions anybody has. I know there's been a lot of people have questions in the comments of the videos that I did and the lives that I did. And I was going to show you a couple things. Did you have time that perfect then? I was up trying to get stuff ready. I didn't know that you'd gone live. But what I thought I'd do is just hop on and I'm going to make a pair of earrings. I'm going to do some wire wrapping. And I always end up making earrings and then my husband swipes them, puts them on Etsy before I get a chance to decide if I really like them or not. So I decided today I'm going to make my own. And you ask, but Liz, what do you make into earrings? Well, I use Cody teeth. And I've had Cody teeth. I've had a set of molars in Polydent here for the last half hour. So I'm going to take them out. I normally paint, do like a light chalk base, paint on the molars, and seal them. I absolutely love the raw tooth color. And you know, I'm a trapper and tanner's wife, so obviously I like bones. So I'm just going to make them natural colored, and then I'll probably seal them after I get them made. But I'm going to seal them after I wire wrap them so that I can also make that wire stick in a certain spot so that they tip the way I want them to tip when I wear them. It's all about the details, y'all. All about the details. So let me get them cleaned up real quick, and I'll show you what I'm making. This Cody needed to go to the dentist. He had a cavity. Let me get them wiped down really quickly. Now, if you order Cody teeth from my husband, they have been cleaned, sterilized, bowl sterilized, and painted and stuff. So I took the two matching molars out of the back of the Cody's skull, and I'm fixing to make me Cody tooth little dangles. And I say dangles, they pretty much just hang there. I don't like for stuff to get wound in my hair, so I don't like movement. So we're not going to have a whole lot of movement. And I want these to be roughly the same size, so I'm going to make sure that I cut roughly the same size wire. I'm using 18 gauge wire. 16 gauge wire? 18 gauge. 18 gauge wire. Let's see. I had this tip somehow other. There, that's better. So I had this tip somehow differently last night, and it worked out better. So, okay. Can't see me as well, but you can see maybe what I'm doing here in a minute, and I can see the words better. So here are my teeth, Cody teeth, the very back molar, before you get to that big honking wisdom tooth that they have. And I've got two pieces of wire. I have more color today, thank God, because I was beginning to look rather peaked. I was beginning to look rather peaked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start about halfway down, and I'm going to hold the tooth like this. And I'm going to wrap this puppy. And I'm going to take it, there's a split in the tooth on this side. I'm going to take it through there for stability. And then around the hump. making sure it catches, through the split, back up, and then what I'm going to do is, I've got 2 wires to meet there. What I'm going to do is pull them really tight, get all the excess out. And this is why I do this for physical therapy for my stinking fingers, because it really works your fingers. And it really helps me to build my hand strength back up. And y'all know that since I've had this neuromuscular disorder, I have really lost the majority of my hand strength. So this has been a great way for me to build up a little of those fine motor skills and my hand strength back again, and I enjoy it. Okay, so there I've twisted it. Now I will clip that little end or crimp him down here momentarily. This is just a really simple. From the front, it looks like it's just, hanging by a thread, but it's actually through that. I like a simple wrap. I do not like, some people want me to make the curly cues all over the place and stuff, and I don't mind to do that. They're pretty, but I like just a simple wrap. I'm trying to display the tooth. The tooth's nothing but the tooth, and so help me tooth. So I'm just trying to display the tooth in a pretty manner. So that's all I'm up to. I'm not up to look really pretty. So I'm going to crimp this to where it's really tight. That is so hard to see. That's a little bit better. So that's going to be my front. Although if you prefer more wire, you could make that your front. That's going to be my front. And I'm going to get rid of this little doohickey right here. So, so I guess Mama Church has found out that there were, in order to publish articles, there were potentially some people who shall remain unnamed, creating false media websites. Y'all, that's just creepy. So now I'm going to take this. These are my little turners, and I'm going to go up here about to right there. Yeah, I'm going to go a little farther. I'm going to go up to right there. And I'm going to turn and make a fairly decent sized hoop. Make an L, basically. I know that it's and then what I'm going to do is get my clippers, and I'm going to kind of straighten it up a little bit. I'm going to hang on to this puppy, and then I'm going to start wrapping that wire. And now I like a chunky wrap, so I'm actually going to go over what I had previously wrapped. I don't mind the extra chunk. I like the wire. It doesn't bother me. I'm a big woman, so I don't mind having, some statement pieces. And so all I've done is make that. Now I'm going to crimp the wire together so that all of my little spirals are spaced together so that they look uniform and cute. And I'm going to get this little edge pushed under. And then I'm going to start to look at how it hangs and straighten it up. So that's pretty good. That is going to be how it's going to hang. So now this is where we have to pray to Jesus, because I've got to deal with this tiny little jump ring right here, and I've got to open it. And this is where I sometimes cuss, so I'll try not to, but sometimes it happens. All I'm going to do is take my pliers, and this is where my hands really, they've had better days. This is where you can tell I have a neuromuscular disorder. And I'm just going to pull that open just a hair. You don't want to make the gap too big that you can't get it back together without hurting the integrity of the wire. So you have to be careful. And this is where you can really tell that my hands have lost strength. So just open that up. I'm going to pay attention to how I put this on. And I've got to pay attention to how these closers, how they open and close. So that's the front. So it needs to go on this way. And this is also where you can tell that I'm blind. Don't worry, my eye exam is in the very near future. So now I've got both of those on there. Now I'm just going to close this back, which, sounds completely simple. Absolutely is not. So I'm going to get my little clippies, grab that side, use my big clippies on this side, and I'm going to push that little sun biscuit eater back together. And this is where you want to put it back together in the path that it came apart, because you don't want to ruin the integrity of the hoop, because that will ruin your hoop. Now, you open your earring, and if it needs to hang the other way, this is where you twist and correct your hoop. So I'm going to twist just a little bit and correct my hoop. And these are mine. And my husband, I'm going to hide them immediately so that he won't be able to sell it. I'm going to make another one to match. And I'm going to hide these from him. But I do have some almost exactly like this for sale in his Etsy store, because I make these all the time. I missed my earring hole somehow. I make these all the time because he likes to bull out the coyote skulls, and I just take the teeth and I make pretty things with them. This is how you can tell I have a neuromuscular disorder too, because I cannot get it in my earring hole. Anyway, that's what it will look like when I wear my coyote tooth earring. It's hanging kind of funny because I've got it snapped to my earlobe and not through the hole, because my hands are not working good today. But that's what it will look like. Now I'm going to make another one to match it. People look at them, and I normally get mostly positive remarks, so I don't really worry about what most people say. But I do really enjoy the way they look. I enjoy the way they wear, and oh, there we go. Now it went in. And I enjoy kind of the shock and awe that some people get from them, and it kind of cracks me up. I don't know if y'all noticed, but last night in my live, after someone had come back and watched it, they came back and said, "You're in the occult. You're a witch." Which I just thought that was hilarious. There's always one in a crowd. There's always one in a crowd, and they always have to say stuff like that. And I find it really, number one, I find it insensitive, but number two, I find it humorous. And mostly because my dad was a Southern Baptist minister, and I grew up in the church. And y'all, I gave my life to the Lord when I was 12, and was baptized, and have never really looked back from there. That's just been the life I chose to lead. And the only time I ever saw anything occult related was when I worked for the state, and we had to investigate some obviously very horrible crimes that sadly did have occult issues. But I always find it super, super strange how easy people jump to conclusions when they don't know. Like when they have a lack of knowledge of something, they immediately jump to fear. And if I could ever tell you all something, is never lead with emotion, because if somebody's asking you to lead with an emotion, it's because they want to control you. And if they're wanting to control you, they're not up to anything good for you, right? So it's like, never let anyone force you into an emotion, because if you do, you're going to end up in a bad place, because they're not going to lead you into a positive place. If people want you to have, to come from an emotional place toward them, it is because they're wanting control 9 times out of 10. And if they're wanting control, that is normally a very negative thing. So I always tell people, if people come at you and they're wanting you to feel before you think, you better think twice as hard. So Um, the one thing I learned when I was a parole officer and a counselor is that motive is everywhere, and sometimes you have to be quiet and look for it, but it will show itself if you will just wait for it. And so sometimes I am really quiet and I wait for people to show their hand, and sometimes I am really loud, and when I think I've read the room, and I'll make a stand and say what I want to say. But people should always be very careful when you go into an environment where people automatically want to put you into your feels, because normally they only do that because they want power. So be very careful. Working on the other one here. So I really enjoy these. These are like my favorite. These are the very back molar before the wisdom tooth. These are my favorite ones that the Cody has. They do come in various sizes, and I actually did make some that are just on a little stainless steel post that are super tiny. I just really like the big molars because I'm a fat girl and I can pack them. So that is why I prefer the back molars. Now all I'm doing is I've got this ready to twist. I'm gonna twist it. My hands are not having the best day today. I do have a neuromuscular disorder, so I don't always have the best control with my hands. Now, like I said, I'm going to twist this, and I'm going to twist it right over the previous twisting because I don't mind a chunky twist. I'm a big girl, so I can wear it. I'm going to go right over that existing twist. This has really helped my hand strength. I used to show halter break show cattle and shoe horses and train horses, and I used to be super, super strong. And so when I got diagnosed with this neuromuscular disorder and it weakened me, I kind of had to take a step back and figure out who I was again, because I had always been this ginormous Amazon that had never had to ask for help, and all of a sudden I was needing a lot of help, and it kind of messed with my psyche there for a while. It really did. And I kind of had to relearn who I was and who I was to myself, which was kind of a head trip there for a few months. Luckily, I have a wonderful husband, and so he made most of the experience easier than it should have been. So, music for healing. Hi, it's nice to see you. We've got Country Christian and Denise in here are basically family to me. We've known each other for probably a little over a year now. I like to come on and do lives and craft, and the reason I ended up on YouTube was because I originally did a video breaking down the psychological impact that Diesel girl had on Ryan, and Ryan kind of propelled me to keep doing and keep going with the YouTube, and so I did. And lo and behold, the other day, the little stinker shared my video. Didn't tell me. Shared my video, and I woke up to literally a butt ton of comments and messages. Ryan, warn me next time before you do that. He has on occasion popped into my lives and irritated us, and he's been super sweet to me and super genuine. And I was lucky enough to have one like Instagram video chat back to back with him, and I can tell you right now that he is exactly who he claims to be. He is just a very sweet young man from Tennessee, and I don't always agree with everything he does, but you're never going to find somebody that you agree with everything they do. But overall, I'm super, super proud to claim him as a Tennessean, and I'm Mama Hen the boy to death. But I'm very proud of what he's accomplished and the way he handles himself to accomplish it. And so if I have something to say about Ryan, I'll say it. And when I saw the drama unfolding again, I was like, seriously, woman? Seriously. I can only take so much stupid, like, in a year. And Nicole Arbor is really pushing it. I think the time that I really just kind of checked out on her and was like, she is not anyone that I can really associate or even attempt to like, was when she interviewed Jordan Peterson. I don't know how she became friends with Jordan Peterson's daughter, but Michaela, question your relationships. But she asked him some very inappropriate questions, and I thought, I have no use for you. I have no use for anyone that would behave in that manner to one of the greatest minds that our generation has ever seen. So I kind of zeroed out on her immediately at that point. Um, so I don't have a lot of respect for her, and that's hard for me to say because I really and truly try to have a lot of respect for everybody. But I just, useless as tits on a boar hog is the phrase that comes to mind when I think of her, and I just don't have any use for her. So I tried to be really nice when Ryan started seeing her and was thinking, okay, well, she's got a little bit of celebrity. Maybe she'll understand where he's coming from and it'll work out a little bit better than the previous. It did not. And I kept telling him, you've got to go back to your center. You've got to be grounded. You've got to go back to what makes you you, and that is your country boy ethics. And you've got to find a girl that's going to embrace and make sure that you come home in center over country and not fly off the handle and chase these city people and stuff. And I was so ecstatic when he found Bethany because I was like, okay, that works. But I told him to stop chasing the flaming hot Cheetos because they will burn you butt every time. And he thought that was funny. So that is how I got onto YouTube. But I am a retired parole officer, retired counselor, retired early due to neuromuscular disorder that is crippling me, and it affects the nerve impulses all over my body, and it's affecting my organs as well. So I have some really sick spells where I don't make as many videos, but I'm still here and I still try to do community posts, but I'm just not well enough to really get on and do a bunch of lives and craft like I normally enjoy. But when I am well, I try to pump out the material and stay in contact. So, oh, thank you. I do like, I have to shake them for a while, make sure I got those jump rings closed good. I do like my coyote teeth, and I've enjoyed learning how to do wire wrapping. And my husband has an Etsy shop. It's Hillbilly Heart Decor, all one word. Hillbilly Heart Decor, and he's a trapper and tanner, and so he sells his fur pelts on Etsy. And like I said, when I sit down and have a massive crafting day, he comes home and he's like, "Oh, I like those. Can I have those?" And he'll take them, and they end up on Etsy. And I make other stuff. Like last night when I was crafting, I made this medicine stick. I am Scotch, Irish, and Cherokee, and so I try to keep a lot of the old ways alive. So this is a beaver skull painted with the medicine wheel colors, a Cody pom pom, leather straps, turkey feathers, wood beads, jute handle with some suede leather for comfort, and a beaver chewed willow stick. Um, and there's nothing witchy or demonic or occultish about this. This is just when you're in the council house or the community or having a meeting with your tribe. People that speak always have the talking stick in their hand, and I just put the medicine wheel colors on that, and all the medicine wheel does is teach you about the four phases of your life and it's the four phases of life, the four directions that your life can go in, and the four sacred parts of the earth that go along with the phases of your life. It's very it's a very good lesson. Just it promotes balance and harmony within yourself. So um, to the woman that was like, "You're a witch. You're into the occult," I was like, "You've never left your home county." so, um, so yeah, I'm home now, retired, and due to my health, I don't get out a lot. But I do have a lot of friends. From the days I was healthy, I did a lot, and I traveled a lot. And I'm a huge Queen fan. I have Queen tattoos, and I have a huge Freddie Mercury tattoo. I was blessed to meet Peter Freestone in 2015 or 16. And we became fast friends, and we keep up with each other. And I have to pinch myself some mornings because I'm a little fat girl in Appalachia. And my iPad will ring at 9 a.m. and it's Peter Freestone. It's I call him Phoebe, calling from Prague to check on me. So I got shoved into having some friends that were kind of famous and understanding what they go through. And so when I see Ryan struggle, I kind of know what he's going through because I've got other friends that I've watched go through similar events. And so I feel really torn. My heart breaks for him sometimes when he goes through these really horrible spells. And I wish I could snap my fingers and give him all the wisdom that I have accrued in my lifetime at his age that's not possible. And he has to learn his own lessons and make his own decisions. And I think the last few years, he has just been doing a much better job, but that doesn't mean that everything goes smooth and that you can control others' behaviors. And right now, the repercussions of some of the people that he's affiliated himself with are biting him in the butt really bad. And it's going to be a great lesson in the long run, but man, it sucks to have to watch him go through it, and to watch these people really take on a really nasty perspective to hurt somebody that, I mean, what's the win here? Bragging rights? I don't get it. Hi Clara, how are you? I like to follow the true crime because of my career, but I try to stay away from the true crime communities on YouTube because mostly they're just drama communities. So I may update you on like the Summer Wells case or another local case, but I don't do a lot of that. Now, Country Christian is really interested in that and follows some stuff, and she's probably into it more than I am. So she may be a better person for you to follow as far as the true crime stuff. I enjoy it. I try to avoid the communities because I've not found very many nice people in them, and I'm very selective because I am so sick most of the time. I'm very selective where I put my energy, and I want to make sure that I put my energy into positive places where I'm going to get a good return on investment. And it's not been any of the true crime communities that I found on YouTube so far. So it's been like not not a good experience for me. So I'm pretty peaceful. I like to get on here and craft. Sometimes I'll do like psychobabble and educations on stuff, or I'll do Tennessee state law or legal stuff, tips and stuff that I've learned through my career. But my biggest bang for my buck is just making people laugh or having really big heart to hearts. That's kind of what we do here, and I enjoy that. And I say what I mean what I say, and I stick by what I say. And I always find it funny when Ryan shares a video and I get like waylaid by all the newbies. I find it funny at how many people are actually starving for just common sense. So I enjoy meeting people that just like to have calm, rational discussions, and I don't even mind having a heated discussion as long as it's a discussion and not an argument. Um, but we have a pretty good community, and I'm telling you, during Christmas we do a lot of crafting. Like we had a crafting marathon last Christmas. It was pretty cool. But you never know what is going to catch my fancy and what I'm going to do a video on. So it's kind of luck of the draw, and each day what has hit me. So it's just kind of whatever is stuck in my brain, I just share with you all. And I do use music for a lot of coping skills with my health and stuff. And so I share a lot of music. I adore Ryan. I adore JJ Longhorn. JJ's a sweetie pie. Um, his fiance Kelsey is like one of my favorite people in the world. She's so sweet. I made their baby girl her baby quilt, and I've got her very first big girl quilt in the making right now. And they're just great people. JJ's just a class A country boy. I would recommend anyone looking into his music. He's great. Other than that, I'm kind of a metalhead. Imagine that. And I enjoy the lyrics. I'm a person that enjoys the lyrical content, and that's why I think I'm drawn to Ryan as well, because his the way he paints a picture with the lyrics, it really impresses me, and I enjoy his songs because I can see what he's speaking of, and so that's why I'm so impressed with his music. So, oh, thank you. The top one is the like one my mother made me a long time ago, and all the others are like presents and stuff that's been handed down to me. The ones that I make, I normally give away or sell. I don't keep them very because I have so many. I have more in a cedar trunk. I have a tanned fox face leather laced bag up there that I made a few weeks ago. It's actually on the Etsy store. My husband put it on the Etsy store. That is a coyote um, shoulder and head pelt that I've backed and I'm going to weave into a frame. And that's a beaver hoop waiting to be put on a hoop. It's a beaver hide waiting to be put on a beaver hoop. Um, you never know what's going to be in my house because my husband is a fur trapper and tanner. He works with TWRA to keep the coyote population down so the livestock don't get just decimated. and so that domestic pets and children don't get attacked. We have a huge coyote problem up here on the plateau. And he also works to counter the booming beaver population in this area because they have just the last decade taken over, and they're actually affecting our waterways. And because we're on top of the plateau, our watershed is very important to the people below us, obviously. And they were starting to mess up the watershed. So they actually called and they were like, hey, would you spread and expand your trapping to the waterways? And so they started trapping beaver and otter and muskrat and every once in a while he'll get a mink. But his bread and butter are the coyotes and the bobcats, and that's kind of what he's built his career and his name on. So autoimmune disorder, yes, isn't that just the most loveliest thing? That's yeah. I wanted to come on a little early because I bet you everyone is going to be watching the news tonight since the big news this morning, and I know I'm going to be watching because I know it's going to get hostile this weekend. And I just hope no one gets hurt. I hope no one goes crazy and thinks that they have to react physically because they're emotional. That is just a super sign of weakness. If you have to react physically because you're emotional, you need to excuse yourself from adulthood and take a sit down and have a talk with your ego because that does not work out ever. Um, but I wanted to come on early because I am going to be watching the news later. If you need a source on here, I watch Citizen Stringer. He's kind of loud, but he is really honest. Now, okay, I have reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which is very much like MS. So they thought I had MS for years, but they could never find anything in the brain or anything in the spinal taps. It took them 6 years to diagnose me, and they finally said, you have reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which I think now they call CRPS. They keep renaming stuff. I think that's so useless. Um, After about 6 months to a year, if they don't get you into some of these clinics to deal with the nerve impulse issue, it just they can't stop it. It's like a train going downhill along grease tracks. So I'm dealing with it now, and it's spread to my digestive tract, my bowels, and my pancreas. And so when I get sick, I get really sick. And so if I ever come up missing, I'm just sick. I'll be back when I'm better. Um, I have, knock on wood, not had any hospitalizations in the last couple years, which has been really great because there for a while I just lived in the hospital. But I like some days I wake up and I can't use my hands right. Some days I wake up and my legs are not functioning correctly. I don't ever make it through an entire day with enough steps. I always run out of steps, so I have walkers and canes and rolly carts. It's kind of embarrassing because I was always like a big Amazon tough girl. You know, I supervised murders and now I'm on a rolly cart. It's just so embarrassing. Um, but it's very much like MS. But there's no medicine to stop the flares and to stop the frozen muscle issues and the nerve issues, and it's very painful. And then last year I had mastoiditis. So if you see this, last year I was so swollen through here I almost had meningitis, and now I've gotten over it, and all the fluid and swelling has gone, but it left me this lovely fat pooch now that I used to not really have as bad. But since I'm poor, I'm still gonna have to learn to live with it. So guess we should just name it and baptize it and welcome it to the family because it's not going anywhere. But I am much healthier this year. Last year was a really rough year for me, so I'm much better this year. And I tell you, some days, Clara, some days you just have to will yourself to get through the day, don't you? Because everything just kind of goes wrong and your body's fighting you, and you just have to have a sense of humor and just kind of get through the day. That's the only way that you can do it. Um, so, Clara, we probably will have quite a bit in common, so I hope you stick around. We've got a couple more that I've actually met through here that have RSD as well. So we've got a really good community. Yeah, if I'm ever puny, Country Christian will know, and y'all can check with her, and I'm sure she'll have an update. So if I'm ever puny, she will normally know what's going on with me because we keep in touch really, really closely. I'm beautiful. Um, I told my husband is like, you just don't know how pretty you are. You're a big girl, but you're pretty. And I'm like, listen, I know how pretty I am. I used to show cattle. I know how valuable a prize heifer is. And he'll just look at me. He'll be like, why did you say that? Um, but now, if I have something to say, and my peeps that have been with me for a long time can attest to this. If I have something important to share or to get out, or it's time sensitive, I don't care what I look like. I will look homeless, and I will come on here and I will tell you what's important and what I feel you need to know. I won't wait. I will get on here and tell you, and I will look homeless and disheveled and horrible. I don't care, because it's more important to tell y'all what I've learned or the information I've come across or to correct something. It's more important to share what I need to share. Um, so y'all will see me in many states. Some of them are probably going to be quite funny. I will tell you that my natural hair color is red, but when I started, like when I gave birth to my son, he took all my red hair, and it just started darkening up. And my dad is Irish, and my mom is Cherokee, so I, I took after my dad, and I look like I'm one potato away from my family, and I always joke about that. My mother has this beautiful olive complexion and dark raven hair, and I'm like, where's the rainbow? So I miss my red hair. So I actually have invested. I dyed my hair last year, and it turned out beautiful. I was so impressed with myself. So I've actually got more of that dye, and I'm fixing to go back to my bright red hair. So y'all get ready for it. It's y'all are gonna be blind for the first couple of days. So I don't know. Like everybody's like, you know, you're such a strange person for for Ron Up Church to have shared. I do not know why we click so well. We just do. And he's always been super sweet about sharing my videos or even responding to my comments on his videos. Um, we kind of had a little bonding moment there when I kind of tossed a little wisdom to him with the whole Katie Noel drama. Which was just like, that just, it bugged me so much to see that. But, so we kind of bonded, and I don't like stalk him or anything, but I think he's a very astute young man, and I'm proud that Tennessee is reflected in such a positive way with such talent. And yeah, he's young, and he's gonna have these issues, and he's got some lessons to learn, and some of them are gonna be painful. But I'm in his corner the entire time. He knows that. Um, but like I'm always like 2 or 3 days behind, because I'm like, I know I don't stalk him, and my health takes up most of my time, so I'm normally on like a delay. To where like I get stuff from other people, and they're like, "Did you see that?" And I'm like, "No." But every once in a while, he has jumped in on lives and commented on threads a lot, and I appreciate that. I think he's trying to like boost me, but I don't want to be a big channel. I'd rather have just quality people as to have a lot of people. I just want good quality people that stop by and say howdy and check in. And we have a really good little family here that really cares about each other, and we just enjoy each other's company. And it's kind of like you sit down and have coffee with your friend, or have tea with your friend, or you have ocean water with your friend. And we have some really big conversations sometimes. We have conversations so big that when I talk about my own medical issues, YouTube will give me freaking strikes saying it's medical misinformation, but it's about my disability. And I'm like, the frig, YouTube. So YouTube does not like me. A few weeks ago, I read a article from the NIH.gov. I give credit to the author. It was from our government agency, the National Institute of Health. I read it, gave credit to the author, and it was a neurosurgeon. And they gave me a strike and a 7-day hold because they were like, "You're spreading medical misinformation again." And I'm like, "Did you call Anthony Fauci and tell him that?" Because that's where I got that. So I don't understand YouTube all that well. Obviously, I struggle with YouTube. Perhaps because when I read rules, I actually think they apply correctly, and that's not how YouTube works. But I do have a Brighteon channel that I've started uploading videos to. Same name, Hillbilly Heart. I've earmarked a Rumble page, and I also am on TikTok, but it takes a lot for me to spend a lot of time on TikTok. I mean, I have to be really invested in what I'm saying before I want to put something on TikTok. It has to be really funny, or I have to be really super invested in what I'm talking about. But Brighteon is a great alternative to YouTube. I really like the mindset that's there. It's a little bit more of like cerebral conversations. People put a little bit more thought and effort. It's not just girls that spend 5 hours on makeup to make a 15-second video. I really enjoy Brighteon, and I would recommend everyone try it out. And if you register, give me a follow. I've just started over there, but I think that's probably where I'm going to end up. Because it's just, let's face it, y'all, YouTube will kick my butt again, give me another strike, and I'll be gone. Because I have a big mouth and brain, and that in YouTube world that doesn't compute. Yeah, Rumble has got a lot more freedom for medical stuff and medical conversations, and that's why I've gone ahead and earmarked a Rumble page. I just not uploaded anything yet because you have to download that film thingy, and I just not got there yet. But you can always find my husband at Hillbilly Furs on Facebook. You can always email me at watersworkload@gmail.com. Denise is putting all this in the chat. And let's see, let me pull this up. So you can always email me here, and I'll get it. If you ever need to like chew the fat about something, you have a question, or you just need to talk to somebody, email me. I try to check it once, twice a day, and I will get back with you. Um, you can always find my husband on Facebook at Hillbilly Furs. He is a big grizzly Adam looking man. He does lives with me normally on the weekends, so I'm hoping that he'll feel like doing that this weekend. He works a lot, so we'll see how many hours he puts in and if he has Sunday off. But you can always message him at Hillbilly Furs on Facebook, and he also will get to me. And then my husband has an Etsy store where he sells his fur pelts, and if he snags some of my jewelry or my crafts, he'll throw those on there as well. I also make dream catchers, but I try to make those per the individual because I put a lot of thought and personal, I don't know, I guess personal energy into the dream catcher when I make it specifically for somebody. Like I want to know the reason you want it made, what you're struggling with if you're struggling with something, the three things in life you're the best at and the three things in life you're worst at. And it's for me, it's about creating something because I learned how to do all this when my mom would take us to like the tribal council and to the powwows and stuff, and all the little girls were ushered into the tents with the old women, and we were taught how to make all these things. I always wanted to make the drums, but that was the men's job. So I learned how to do all this when I was young, and I didn't respect it, and I didn't respect my heritage for a long time. And I guess age will kick your butt and tell you what's important. So I've learned to really come back kind of full circle and focus on my heritage, my lineage, my culture. And so my dad is, I've traced him all the way back to Ireland. They come from Scotland and Ireland. And my mother, literally, I hit a roadblock because they started pulling women out of the forest and naming them Mary A and marrying them. And so I will never be able to find my mother's lineage all the way back. But I do know that I'm like the Lenape tribe out of the Cherokee, which actually came from like the Delaware tribe up north, which is really well known branch. Um, but I wish that I had respected everything that my great grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother had taught me, and not like had this gap in time where I was so career driven and so living in the professional world and not staying in touch with my roots and who I really am, which I'm just a bumpkin. I'm an educated bumpkin. I have a master's in psychology. But y'all, that's just book learning. Anybody can do that if they've got enough dedication, and desire. It's being a good person and being grounded and wood lore and going out and being able to make a salad from your backyard and building stuff with your hands and, having a life that's really in tune with nature is kind of my thing. So um, that's kind of what I'm known for. So if you all enjoy that, stay around. If you're squeamish about pelts and hides and talking about fur tanning and trapping and you know, then don't stick around and badmouth me because I have no time or energy for that. Um, I live in Appalachia where the black bear come on my freaking front porch and try to eat my cat food. So I have a different relationship with nature than most people. I live in it and I'm still part of it. And I'm not the top of the food chain at all around here. And I posted videos from my husband's trail cams that he's watching his trapping spots for next winter. And we've got the black bear are everywhere this year. and I posted videos of it. So go take a look at that. But I'm a pretty grounded individual, pretty laid back, and it takes a whole lot to get me irritated. And I would rather like leave you with parting words of wisdom than a drama filled rant. And so I don't really react emotionally. I chill out, take a step back, and process it, and then try to handle it logically, calmly, rationally. And I think that comes from years of working with the Department of Corrections and supervising murderers and people that wanted you emotional and flighty, and so they could manipulate you. And I just learned to not be that person. So, oh, we've got Alaska in the house. Ryan, yeah, he totally like shared my video the other day. I'm gonna have to tell him he's gonna have to give me warnings before he does that. He's done it a few times now, and I always get inundated with newbies, and I love meeting people, so it's fine. But I'm like a little warning, because my health is not always good. So it's if I like to kind of know when I'm gonna need to reserve energy for stuff. Um, but yeah, he shared my video the other day, and he is the reason I'm still on YouTube and still making videos. He's been quite the little champion of my cause and in my little corner on YouTube. And I just am really proud of the work he's done on himself the last few years. You know, we've had a couple conversations and shared some, shared some back and forth, and he has really taken what I've said. And some of what I've said is, you have to say it, and it's probably not, doesn't sound too nice, but it's something that needs to be heard. And he's taken it and processed it and made it his own and worked on it, and just he's grown so much in the last few years. And of course, age does that as well, but he's made a lot of changes. And I'm just proud of the boy. And still he has to deal with repercussions and ramifications of who you affiliate with. And we'll get through this. This too shall pass, probably like a kidney stone, but it'll pass. Um, but I was really frustrated to see the imbalance in the domestic violence world. And I supervised the violent male offenders and the murderers, so I was constantly inundated in that world and knew the gory details of everything. And what a lot of people don't tell you is that, yeah, men are like 70% of stalkers and harassers and aggressors, but they're only responsible for about 39% of the physical violence that is done in that little world. Women, 30% of the aggressors are women, but that 30% are responsible for almost 2/3 of the physical violence, because women will fly off the handle and swat you for no reason whatsoever. And so it's very important to understand that while women do need protection, there's a huge imbalance in this dynamic, because men are victims too, and women are primarily more physically violent. They're ready to get in a tussle and get down to business. And I saw that up close and personal. We be in. I did parole and probation, so I worked for pro board and had judges. And we would be in court, and I would look at my other probation officers, and they'd be a woman plead, and she would plead to an assault or something like that, and I'd be like, "Listen, I'll take 3 of the men if you take that woman, 3 for 1." And we would make bargains like that all the time, because the women, I can. My mind clicks really well with men and the physicality and the emotions that they zero in on to have a physical, conflict. Women don't always have to have a reason. They just have to get flighty and feel that trigger click, and they're gone. And so I could always reason so much better with the men. So I took the male offenders, and I did really well with them. Of course, I'm a big burly woman, so I only ever got like threatened a few times, and they never meant it. Like, I had one guy tell me he was going to bury me in the backyard if I didn't stop coming doing home visits. And I was like, I can't even get you to do 22 hours of community service, and you're going to dig a hole this big. Sure. And then he laughed and went on with it. Now, had he murdered people in the past? Yes. But I did not think he was going to dig a hole this big. So, went on about my business. But women will just fly off the handle and just latch onto you like a banty rooster. They just, the slightest provocation, and they're on you. And so I would constantly be like, I'll take 3 of the male offenders, you take the 1 female. Seriously, I'll trade you. And it was funny in the moment, but it alludes to a huge issue that we have, and that with the added protection and the added resources and the added litigation defense, women have actually become more physically violent. Ladies, it's not how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to have this defense so you can calmly work through something and feel protected so that you don't have to become physically violent. It had the opposite effect. Women are now more physically violent. So they only have, they only do 30% of the stalking and harassing and domestic violence, but they create 2/3 of the physical altercations. Women, I mean, put your big girl panties on and deal with it. Stop, just stop and think. If you ever think you need to put your hands on somebody, you need to sit on them and sit down and take 5 minutes and talk to yourself. Yeah, there's so many of these programs, and most of them are great. Like, I have no problem. Like, my husband was actually in what they called a parade of beauties, and he's a big burly, like, lumberjack, big burly Grizzly Adams guy. And so he dressed up in a dress full. I got to put full makeup. He had a beard. I got to put full makeup on him, clip on earrings, rings, and we named him Paulette Bunyan. And he participated in a beauty pageant to raise money, and with like 20 something other men, and they raised money for shelters, for a new shelter to be built. And so I'm like a huge advocate. Yeah, let's talk about domestic violence. Let's talk about violence. Let's talk about anger. Let's talk about you know allowing yourself to become physical when you really just needed to think it through up here. It didn't need to come out here. Um, and so you have to really understand when you get angry. You have to understand what triggers you, why it triggers you, how many times you've let it affect you, the root for what created the cause and effect, because you could trace it back to something that happened, and that's when you became fixated on that one thing that trips your trigger every time. And you have to really untie the knot before you can understand why you react so aggressively. And it takes time to do that, but you have to sit down and give yourself that time to do it, or you're always going to react aggressively. And that's what people that have aggressive tendencies don't realize. And it doesn't have to be physical violence, it could be emotional manipulation, um, mental abuse. I mean, it's the same thing. Something has happened that has caused you to latch onto that one strand of power, and for some reason, rather than seek a resolution, you seek subjugation and compliance and dominion. Why? Why is that so much more important than a resolution? A resolution is going to help everyone. So why do you want something that's just going to help one person? Power. Why do you seek power? What does power do for you? When did you not get power that you really wanted it and it hurt you? Okay, now we can talk. And I think a lot of that is what is going on in this dynamic with Ron. I think it's someone that had hopes and dreams and aspirations and probably had somebody manipulate them, potentially take something from them emotionally, physically, mentally, however, and it created this little black spot that now when they feel that someone else is berating them or taking away from them or stealing the limelight or in some way doing them dirty, they go to that little black spot and they react. And that's really dangerous because the more you feed into that little black spot, the more it grows. And it's really hard to reverse once it becomes a learned, instilled behavior and trait. So you really have to work at it. And you have to understand what you're seeking. Because you're not seeking validation, justification. You're not seeking any of that. You could do that through dialogue and communication, and seeking a resolution. You're seeking physical power and to have someone beneath your dominion. Why is it important? Why is it important? And so that you have to answer a lot of questions and be really honest with yourself and for all the videos she's done where she attacks the little traits, the minute traits, the flaws in other people, I think that is a cover so she doesn't have to handle the flaws she sees in herself. And so rather than work on herself, it's easier to attack other people and make them feel less so that she feels more. So they feel less than, she feels more than. And that's easier for her. It's cheaper, easier, quicker, you know. But she would be so much happier if she would sit down and really untie that knot and realize I am backing myself into a corner. I'm pushing myself to a lonely existence. Why? And why do I focus on the flaws of others? But whoo, if you note one flaw of mine, I will attack. Why is she allowed to do all of this, but we can't reflect in the same manner upon her? There's an imbalance of power. She struggles with power. It's a power dynamic issue. So, and you come on here and call me everything but a little fat white girl. It's not going to mean much to me because I know who I am and I know I don't know you. And so there's really not any power in your words. But you have to give power to somebody's statements. You really do. Or you have to feel so flawed within yourself that you adopt their statement. Because words, unless you feel that they have meaning, they're powerless. So why does she automatically turn to the aggressor when she could handle these in much more healthy ways? I worry, because she's ruining, she's trying to ruin someone's life and livelihood, but she's also ruining her own existence and ability to create good relationships and positive social structures, and she's limiting her own growth. And I'm like, do you understand what you're doing? Because you're not really harming anyone but yourself. And I don't think she understands that. And she's almost as old as me, so she needs to be catching up and figuring it out because life really starts to go down the hill after you topple 40. I'm just telling you. You will slide down, hurt your butt, and wonder where the years went, and get up wishing you had focused on the really important stuff instead of the petty stuff you were focused on. And so I would like to see her make some changes. Do I think she'll do it? I don't know. She's living life hard, doing a lot of learned behaviors that are toxic, but they pay her bills both emotionally and financially. Um, I don't know if she'll be able to stop. I hope she finds a healthier way to exist. I hope she finds a healthier way to be. Does Ryan do everything perfect? No. There's sometimes I'm like, Ryan, I just want to smack you in the back of the head and go, Ryan. And he knows that. And I've voiced my frustration with some of his decision making skills, and he knows that he can either pay attention to what I'm saying and work on it, or he can just go, I don't want to hear it. He doesn't have to pay attention to me. I don't always agree with the way he behaves and reacts to things either, but I do see a healthier pattern in him of trying to at least be open, authentic, honest, and handle his own crap. Um, so I get that. Even when he has these little tiffs with people, they're normally in a humor standpoint, and I get that. That's what he's good at. But to create this type of to where we're filing false reports and taking people to court and trying to steal their livelihood and basically extort them. Either you pay the court or you pay me to go away. I mean, that's kind of where we're going here. It feels like. And it's just like, is that where we're going? Is that the whole point of this? And if this, we know this is a learned repetitive behavior because we've seen it happen several times previous in her life. And I'm just like, oh, I hope she finds a healthier way to be because it's just not good. Hi, Nat. How are you? Sun Gazer. We've got a whole bunch of people in here. Diane. Meditation is great. Brown noise. If you have an overactive train of thought, kind of like you have those ADD or ADHD, inclined channel switching in your brain, don't use white noise. Try brown noise. Brown noise has a heavier bass, and it actually calms the mind more than white noise. White noise can actually amplify some anxiety and paranoia, so try brown noise. I use brown noise. I do medication. I have a Tibetan singing bowl that a friend brought to me. I will do anything to calm my fat butt down because I know that when you're in a highly emotional state, you're in a weakened state. You're in an impaired state, and you're not going to make any good decisions. So people used to say, your first, three reactions are wrong. No, if you're in a weakened emotional state, your first 333 reactions are wrong. You're just not going to make a good decision. Don't do it. I like to see all the new names. The Hertz can affect. Hertz is more for like chakra and healing, but the Hertz can affect it. For the most part, it is the depth of the tone. It's not really the Hertz where it vibrates. It's the base of the tone. And so you have brown noise with different Hertz options as well. But brown noise I have found much more beneficial for me because I do channel surf in my brain. I multitask so efficiently it scares me sometimes. So brown noise has been a very good thing for me. The Tibetan singing bowls, and they've got like 8 and 10 hour, you know, videos of this on YouTube, so you can virtually get through the entire night and have that sound in your mind. And I will sleep a lot deeper, and most of the time I will actually dream, and I wake up more refreshed if I do keep something calming. I do some. There's some really good sleep meditation. There is a channel called is it the Casper Sleep Channel? And if you go to the Casper Sleep Channel, they've got and you go to their videos, go all the way down on their playlist. There's nothing but little like videos that aid in falling asleep. And I will listen to those. My favorite one is the shipping report because they're just reading a shipping report for the oceans around the world, and it's mind numbing and calming. And then they've got the water sound in the background, and then it goes to like, when you're on a boat and you hear the hum of the engines, and then it goes to that, and I'll be asleep in 10 minutes. And I do not sleep well, so that's amazing. My husband woke me up years ago when I was still working for the Department of Corrections, and I was actually writing a warrant in my sleep. I was talking it out. Violation Rule 10, count one. And my husband woke me up and he's like, "You're writing a warrant in your sleep. You've been doing this for 30 minutes. I said, "Why did you not record me? Because now I'm going to have to go to work and do it all over again." But I've actually written warrants in my sleep, so I don't sleep well. And that has really helped me. A lot of the sleep meditation, the Casper channel, I think it's the Casper Sleep channel, has really helped me. Yeah, if I don't have some kind of constant and repetitive tone, I will not sleep as deep. I can tell the difference. We got people making dinner in here too. I love it when y'all get on having like little side conversations, and then I get to go back and see. Annette is canning. Well, I've got jelly makers in here, canners, crafters. Um, we're just a big old mixture of some of the best people. So welcome to the family. If you have found your way in here, share the channel. I am not big on drama. I'm not. I like to laugh, and sometimes I will get plumb sassy. But I am pretty calm and passive, and just like to bring a little bit of light to your life, a little bit of funny, or a little bit of, oh, that's a deep thought. I don't want I don't like the channels that create the really negative relationships between subs and the YouTube creator. I got into one channel one time, and this woman she took it all, made it all membership, and then and I was like, I'm out. I don't think this, she was starting to like cuss her subs and attack people, and she was getting mad because they were not giving her their monthly money that they had been giving her, and I'm like, it's a choice. They don't have to pay you anything. Well, then she made it all membership, and I was like, peace, I'm done, I'm going. And she was like, well, your channel will never flourish because when people pay for your channel, they actually are more invested with your channel. And I was like, because they give money for it? And she's like, yes, because they give money for it. And I was like, I pay for toilet paper. Do you know what I do with that? So I don't like those dynamics. You're welcome here. I want everybody to feel welcome. I want you to join in and be happy and share your knowledge. And if you have a question me. If you have a different point of view or perspective, share it. And as long as we're respectful, I'm cool. But I could not believe. I cannot believe she did that. And I was like, we've got people that can barely pay their bills, and now you're saying I've got you used to coming and talking to me every night, and oh now you need to pay me at least $12 a month to spend time with me. So my channel is not monetized. It will never be monetized. It probably won't last much longer according to YouTube's strike policy. But that's why I created the Brighteon backup. But I just really like to meet people. I like to be around a good group of people, and so that's kind of where I am. And I think Creek Squad are some of the best just homegrown folks you'll find. And so that's kind of, I really enjoy, they call me the Creek Squad counselor. I've kind of enjoyed this little world they've given me, but I do it very quietly and off to the corner, and I don't seek a lot of, but I don't like a lot of screen time, and I don't need people following me and chanting my name. I just, if you have a problem, bring it to me, or if you have a question, bring it to me. I can sometimes unmangle the mess that some people make in their brains, and I can help. And when I can't help, I try to help. And when I can't, I just sit quietly in the corner and wait until I'm needed. So I'm just really chill. So see, we've got friendships being made already. Okay, I'm fixing to have to go and eat me some dinner and rest. But so hurry up and get your information shared. I don't want to catch us off. Yeah, you can really will yourself to focus on positivity. I used to be the worst for nightmares. Um, and it's all about the state you put your body in mentally, emotionally, physically before sleep. So the that 30-45 minutes before you want to be asleep, you need to be doing something calming, positive, therapeutic, and put yourself in that state. So, and I really appreciate you jumping in and watching me make my earrings. So I made these while I was live with you. These are the back molar of a coyote. Don't worry, I clean them and sterilize them. It's cool. I make these a lot. My husband puts them in his Etsy store when I get really creative and just I make too many. And he actually had taken all of them from me that I'd made this year. So these are mine. I'm going to hide them from him. They're going in my jewelry box. He makes jewelry boxes, and he'll take a beaver chew log and router it out and make a cap or put a hinge on it. And it's like a little hidey hole for jewelry, money, whatever you need to hide. And it looks just like a decorative, like really pretty log. It's like an art exhibit thing. And he makes a lot of handy dandy stuff. His Etsy store is Hillbilly Heart Decor. So go check it out. Yeah, Creek Squad are some of the best people you will ever meet. They will give you the shirt off their back. They will share their last penny with you. And I don't think I don't think I found a better like social community online than Creek Squad. Honest Pete. They're just the best people. Well, thank you. Some women like shiny things. I don't. I like rustic, native, country stuff, and so that's where I shine. And I really love these. Like these are the biggest molar. I do. They are much smaller, so I have some that are super small that go on a post that barely cover your earlobe. But I love these big honker ones because I'm a big girl. I need big earrings. So here is the husband's Etsy store again, just in case you want to go and peruse. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. He has full pelts, coyotes, bobcats, everything, and down to smaller items and some woodworking stuff. This mixture, he tries to keep about 30 items on at a time. If you ever need to speak to me, you can always email me at watersworkwood@gmail.com. And I try to check it a time or two a day, so I will respond. If I miss you, email me again, like bold the subject line, because I do get a lot of emails, but I normally catch them and I will respond. And if you want to see David on Facebook, he has Hillbilly Furs. That is his fur page. You can go and follow and see what he's up to. And he does also post trapping and tanning videos on my YouTube page. and I like to throw his trail cam videos up sometimes when there's interesting stuff, and I did that the other day. And I also like to make fun of my husband when I edit his videos. So sometimes I pick on him way too much. We will probably do a live together Sunday, a couples live. We come on and show you what he's working on and check in, just because I think everybody likes to know I've not like killed my husband, because they are like they're really attached to my husband. He's a really sweet man. We've been married for 20 years. He adopted my 2 children from my first marriage. He is like a Superman. I mean, he's my Superman. And people get really attached to him because he's such a good little, I mean, he just got such a good heart. He's a good soul. He's a big old country boy, but he's just got such a good soul. And so since I started bringing him on the lives, it just become a routine that when we go live on the weekends, he goes live with me and everybody gets to check in. He's a man of few words. He'll crack you up though when he talks. You think I'm country, you've not heard anything yet. And I think everybody likes to check in and make sure that I've not killed Dave. He's still kicking. So Sunday evenings is normally our check-in time, and we do like a couples check-in if he's not working. I'm hoping he has Sunday off. If you want a personal dream picture made, email me. Because I'm going to ask you questions, personal questions, to make sure that it's made for you. And not just, it's not an off-the-line automatic print that has 12,000 others that look like it. Every one of mine are different, and they're all made for different people for different reasons, and I love making them. And they take me sometimes about a week or two to get done, depending on how much effort I have to put into them. If I put a lot of beading, or if I do a very intense weave, which Denise knows I did a very intense weave on one of her grandchildren's, and that puppy took me forever. But it was beautiful, so I didn't mind. But I do put my heart and soul into them, and it keeps me busy. It helps me work my motor skills and keep my fine motor skills up and battle this neuromuscular disorder. So if you want one, yell at me. You will be amazed at how affordable they are compared to what you pay for a processed one off a factory line. So has everybody got your information swap that was swapping in the chat? Clara, I am one of those people that understand how tight things get. So if you want something and you want it on a specific budget, I'll scale down. Just email me, and I'm sure we can work something out. If people really want something, I try to work with them. My earrings on Etsy, they go for like $8 to $12, and and that's with shipping. So I try to keep it fairly simple, and I have some on there that are cheaper. But we're poor people too. So when the husband prices stuff, he prices it really affordable because we don't want to put it at a price that we would not expect to pay, and so we try to keep it pretty reasonable. The only thing that gets kind of pricey are my quilts, and it's because I have so much fabric and time, especially if I'm hand stitched. Oh my gosh. But everything else we try to keep super affordable, for just regular folk, because it's all we are. We're just regular folk. Oh, that's great. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel good. And I actually put a rose quartz on hers. I wired it to hers. So I invested even my own gemstones into hoping she doesn't have any more nightmares. So, and if people don't like when I talk about gemstones, if they're deep in the Bible, but the Bible, actually, if you look at the foundation of a lot of the places of worship in the Bible, there were foundations made up of like the 12 most precious gemstones. And so those are, that's kind of where I started learning about gemstones from. And a lot of people don't know that, but a lot of people only read parts of their Bible. They don't read the whole thing. And so I was raised by a preacher, so I have probably read it several times over. But that was something that not a lot of people knew. So I like gems. I keep a lot of gemstones and rocks in my house. I've got a lot of amethyst quartz, rose quartz, fluorite, labradorite, and they've done wonders for my health. And I think they're really pretty too. So I really honestly believe that the good Lord put everything we needed on this earth. We just have to be humble enough and willing to figure it out, and some people don't like to. Oh yeah, my price is y'all I'm poor, and I cannot believe what some people on Etsy charge. Like my husband's like, I can't charge for that. That's absurd. And so he will make a version and sell it way cheaper, and it's just as pretty and just as nice, but so people can have that item at a more affordable price. So we're pretty simple folk. Actually, if you go through my community post, I think I've posted some pictures of them. Denise, that's what you need to. I didn't take any pictures of your grandsons because I was keeping it as a surprise, and I didn't because it's my favorite one that I've ever made. But if you want to snap a pic and send to me, or have him snap a pic and get it to me, um, I will share that one on the community post too. I should have taken one, but it was the prettiest one that I've done so far, and it had big pheasant feathers hanging off of it. It was just beautiful. And then I did a really girly one for her granddaughter, and it's in the community tab somewhere. I mean, it had marabou feathers, glitz, glams. It was everything. I do prefer the more rustic native, but it's your dream picture, so it's how, whatever you want it to be. So I'm really easy to work with. It took like 4.5 years, and that was the biggest struggle of my life. I mean, it was the biggest struggle of my life. So if you're going that route, be prepared, um, because they will want to break you before they offer you anything. And I found that so vulgar after I had given the majority of my career in a very dangerous job to protect my community. I just thought it was so vulgar of the way that they handled my case. But that's what they do to everyone. And I would say don't even try to file on your own. Immediately get an attorney, and because they have a limit to what they can take. And honestly, you're going to need them, and you're not going to miss it because it's going to be so much smoother and much more effective with an attorney. So I'm glad we've all had time to check in. I'm fixing to go eat me some dinner and relax. So I'm going to get off here. I'm glad everybody had time to chit chat and watch me make some earrings. Look forward to seeing you again, and I'm going to try to be back on Sunday. May post a video before then. It's been great, guys. Y'all have a good night. Bye.